Every Friday afternoon, for years, the same man sat down in front of a camera, smiled, and answered questions from his customers. No script, no lawyers hovering. Just a friendly guy in a black t-shirt that said, "Banks are not your friends." 1.7 million people trusted him with their savings. At its peak, prosecutors say, his platform held $25 billion. And almost every Friday, somewhere in that stream, he told them something that wasn't true. On May 8, 2025, a federal judge in Manhattan gave Alex Mashinsky 12 years in prison. The man who told the world to fire their bank turned out to be running the kind of bank that keeps two sets of books. Pour the coffee, partner. Case file number 2, Celsius. To understand Celsius, you have to understand 2017. Bitcoin is ripping. Banks are paying 0.0% on savings, and into that gap steps Alex Mashinsky, a 50-something serial entrepreneur with a good story. He claimed he'd helped pioneer the technology behind internet phone calls. Now, he said, he was going to disrupt banking itself. The pitch was gorgeous in its simplicity. Deposit your crypto with Celsius. We'll pay you up to 17% interest a year. The banks make fat profits off your money. We just hand those profits back to you. Unbank yourself. 17%. Let me put that in perspective. Your bank was paying you about 0.5%. Celsius claimed to pay 30 times more and called itself, quote, the safest place for your crypto. Now, you've been on this wall with me before. When someone says the word safe that loudly, we open a file, but here's what made Celsius different from every faceless crypto scheme. Alex showed up. Every Friday. Ask Mashinsky anything. Live on YouTube, unscripted, hours of it. He took hostile questions, he joked. He wore the t-shirt. You can't fake that, people said. A guy with something to hide doesn't go live every week, and the customers weren't gamblers mostly. That's what makes this file heavy. They were people who'd been told for a decade that the system was rigged against them. Teachers with a retirement account in Bitcoin, contractors stacking savings, retirees chasing something, anything that beat 0.5%. Celsius didn't feel like a casino to them. It felt like a savings account with justice built in. That was the genius of the branding, and the cruelty of it. 1.7 million customers signed up. By the fall of 2021, Celsius held around $25 billion. $25 billion. That's not a startup anymore. That's a mid-sized national bank, except without the boring parts. You know, regulators, audits, deposit insurance. The parts that exist because of every case on this wall. Here's the oldest question on this wall, and I want you to tattoo it somewhere. When someone pays you 17%, who's paying them? Yield doesn't fall from the sky. It comes from somewhere, and if you can't see where, there's a decent chance it's coming from you. Because behind the Friendly Friday streams, prosecutors say Celsius wasn't doing safe, boring lending. It was making risky bets with customer money, the exact opposite of the brochure. Picture it like this. You hand your gold watch to a man who promises to keep it in his safe. He smiles, shakes your hand, and the moment you leave, he pawns your watch, takes the cash to the track, and bets it on a horse. If the horse wins, he pays you your interest and keeps the rest. If the horse loses, well, he'll worry about that when you come asking for the watch. Now imagine 1 million watches. That, in one image, is what the government says was happening behind the word safe. And then there was the CEL token. Celsius had its own coin, and its price was the company's heartbeat. So, Mashinsky and his team spent hundreds of millions of dollars quietly buying CEL on the open market to pump the price up, sometimes, according to the Justice Department, using customer deposits to do it. Look at this chart. That's not a market. That's a man with a fire hose of other people's money, spraying it at a number to keep it from falling. And while the number stayed up, Alex was selling. On the Friday streams, he told customers he wasn't selling his CEL. On the blockchain, where, as we established last time, everything is written in stone, he sold about $48 million worth. Inside the company, some employees could read the chart too. When the bankruptcy examiner later went through the wreckage, she found one specialist who joked that his real job title should be Ponzi Consultant. Another insider described the whole operation as, quote, very Ponzi-like. That's not me editorializing, partner. That's their own people, under oath, in a court-appointed examiner's report, June 12, 2022. Crypto markets are bleeding. And Celsius posts a short message. Due to extreme market conditions, all transfers and withdrawals are paused. Paused. One word. And 400,000 people are suddenly standing outside a locked glass door, watching $4.7 billion of their own money sit on the other side. The withdrawals never reopened. A month later, July 13th, Celsius filed for bankruptcy. And then came the part nobody puts in the brochure: the waiting. 400,000 people became a line item, unsecured creditors, in a Manhattan bankruptcy court. Not victims, creditors. For a year and a half, they refreshed court dockets the way they used to refresh their account balance, learning words no saver should ever need: examiner, estate, distribution. Some eventually got a portion back. Billions were finally paid out when the company crawled from bankruptcy in early 2024. But a portion of your life savings, 2 years late, is not a happy ending. It's a smaller tragedy wearing a settlement's clothes. And here's the detail that tells you everything about the man in the t-shirt. In the weeks before that freeze, while telling the public things were fine, Mashinsky quietly withdrew $8 million of his own money. The captain didn't go down with the ship. The captain took a lifeboat early and waved at the passengers from the water. From there, the machine of consequences ground forward, slowly, the way it always does, and then, all at once. January 2023. The examiner's report airs the Ponzi jokes to the world, 400 pages of receipts assembled by a court-appointed investigator with subpoena power and no sense of humor. July 2023. The FTC hits Celsius with a $4.7 billion settlement, the largest in the agency's history. And that same month, federal agents finally arrest Mashinsky. The man who spent years answering softball questions on Friday streams was about to face a room where every question is hostile and you answer under oath. Then the crew cracked, the way crews do. His own chief revenue officer, the man who helped run the CEL trades, pleaded guilty and started talking. December 3rd, 2024. Alex Mashinsky stands in a Manhattan courtroom and pleads guilty. Commodities fraud, securities fraud. And on May 8, 2025, Judge John Keltel hands down the bill. 12 years in federal prison and forfeiture of $48,393,446. Almost exactly the amount he made selling the token he swore he wasn't selling. The blockchain, as always, kept the receipts. Case 2. 3 things for the wall. 1. Yield has a source, always. If a company pays you 30 times the market rate and can't show you exactly where it comes from, you're not the customer, you're the source. 2. Charisma is not collateral. A man who goes live every Friday isn't proving he's honest, he's proving he's comfortable. Those are very different skills. And 3. Watch the hands, not the mouth. He said, "I'm not selling," on camera. The wallet said $48 million. When words and money disagree, believe the money. Next case, we go back to the beginning. Boston, 1920. A charming man in a straw hat, an envelope full of postal coupons, and a promise of 50% in 90 days. The scheme that every crook on this wall, Caroni, Mashinsky, all of them, has been running ever since, and the man whose name it carries. Subscribe, partner. The archive is open.